Welcome to the first No Idea Live from our new, I guess we could still say new office in Murfreesboro, Illinois. We are on Walnut Street now, 1214 Walnut to be exact. And we are, we've been here, 3 months now? 2 months now? Almost 3 months,
yes.
Since February. And we've been kind of getting settled in and preparing, and we decided today is the day to come back with No Idea.
Really, I've just been dragging my feet and pretending to have appointments and Kevin has been pushing me to go live. So here we are.
Here we are.
Because we need to talk about security.
Yes.
We have had a lot of people calling and asking about security. Facebook had a huge data breach that they did not notify users, but there were 530 million Facebook accounts that were compromised, and people have lost access to their pages.
Locked out. We've heard from folks who couldn't even get in to check, on their own personal stuff, much less than the pages that they manage, and that can create lots of problems for your business or brand.
Which then kind of leads us into other times we've seen this with turnover and having the correct administrative privileges on your pages, but also utilizing tools that Facebook provides you. So no added software costs, just things that you can have in place and you should, so that you always have access to your pages and things are secure. So the first thing is, if you have a business page, please use Facebook Business Manager.
Yes.
It is an entire suite for free that Facebook offers that allows extra security features, in-depth publishing tools, things that you can use to make your page better, reach more people. It makes your ads more effective, better targeting. All of these tools that are absolutely free to you. It does take a little bit of time to set up the account and verify, but it is worth it because it does add additional security. And once you set that up for your business, then you can add the users. And it's really important. Before, you could just create a page, and some people still have that set up where they didn't want their personal page tied into their business page. But the way that Facebook really is designed, you need that accountability.
Yeah. And, like what you said, as you go through and set this up, and then you are determining who is going to be an additional administrator or an editor, whatever level you designate them, it's always a good idea to have at least a couple of administrators on a page.
Right. If you will have turnover. So we see that a lot too. The marketing manager, director will be the sole administrator. Then they leave. You have to call an ex-employee to get your information. And we're not just talking about Facebook. Twitter is a username and password. And once that's set up, it is very hard, if not impossible, to get that channel taken down or to gain access once you no longer have that email address. So a lot of times it will be set up with your domain, so it would be their name at your domain. And once that email address is deactivated, they will probably have a backup with their phone number. So if you can't check the email address and you can't check the phone number, you can't gain access to this account, and you can't get it deleted either.
Yeah. And that can cause all obviously headaches for you and your business, but then you run into, all kinds of other potential nefarious things that the person that has that access can be doing with your account. So always have that two-step authentication process and those kinds of things in place to, protect yourself down the road. Right now everybody may be hunky-dory, getting along just fine, but you never know what may happen down the road. So there are ways, again, to ensure that you're not going to end up getting locked out of your own page, which we've seen actually happen to a couple of people as well.
And then when it comes to linking your pages or just generally finding it, when somebody searches, then you've got 2, sometimes 3. We've seen up to 5 different YouTube channels,
Yeah.
and then it just creates confusion. And we don't want that. You don't want that. It's very hard to manage when you don't own your own channels. And if you work with a provider or an agency or a company, make sure that they add you as an administrator and you have all of those privileges, because the moment you stop paying your bill, we've also seen that you lose access to your accounts. Look at those agreements of services and make sure before you sign anything to make sure that you own those pages that they create, those social channels, you own the content, and that you get administrative rights.
Yeah.
Because if not, the moment that that contract expires, they own your channels. And we've seen established channels that clients can't access because they signed onto an agreement that does not provide them account ownership. So look at those agreements. It's a great time to go through, check your security settings. You can go to our page later today and we will have a link that you can go in and put in your phone number or email address and see if any of your information is compromised.
Yeah, and that's, this is beyond the typical. In fact, I got one this morning from my uncle, a friend request that I'm already friends with, and of course, it's no profile picture. So this goes even beyond that. Hackers and the bad guys, so to speak, are becoming more sophisticated in their approaches and how they're getting in there and taking over. So just again, taking a few maybe time-consuming steps, but in the long run, that is going to save you a lot of headaches and hassle and heartache. And again, prevent you from getting locked out of what is actually your business or brand's page.
And speaking of hassle, 2-factor authentication. It's kind of a pain,
Yeah.
and it is a little bit confusing. You have to, sometimes it'll send it to a text, but other times you'll have to go on your primary device and then get the code manually. But that is so important. One of the first things, if you have that in place, you have to use 2 different devices to sign in, especially on a new browser. So yes, it is tedious. People don't like it because, you have your phone downstairs or whatever. But it will prevent a lot of headaches in the future. But you'll get a text that says, here's your 2-factor code. And if you are not trying to sign in from another device, then you can go in and change your password immediately. And you know that, one, nobody gained access to your account, and then you're preventing it from the future. Always change your password.
Yeah. And don't just use a uniform password for everything either. It's obviously much easier to remember that way, but again, someone gets one password and it's linked to 7 or 8 different things, they're going to have a field day.
And don't use password 123 or anything obvious. Those long passwords that many apps will supply you with, those are great. They're long and they're things that you will never remember, but that's exactly why they suggest using those, because people can't remember.
Yeah.
So it is harder to steal. But there are password manager apps that are secure that can keep all of those neatly organized. And speaking of that, you can, and we always recommend setting up kind of a security net. So maybe a marketing at your domain, or if you don't want to do a separate email address, maybe you have to pay for that account. You can do a Gmail account that is set up so that you have shared access, and everybody can then gain within your organization. You can kind of share information. It's good for Google Drive and content management, but then also you have a centralized place where access can be granted.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, again, check those passwords, make sure that they are safe and secure, and really utilize it. It's a free tool out there, this Facebook Business Manager, because it really, especially if you are looking at having more than one business style account, or if you're helping manage other accounts, it really becomes a very useful tool.
And that's all I have. Just do.
Do a check, change your passwords. It's a great day to change passwords.
Yes.
Look at those apps, set up Facebook Business Manager, make sure that you have secondary administration or administrators on each page so that you never lose access. Look to make sure that you own your pages and just freshen up.
Yeah. It is a good time to prepare and be ready, and on this rainy Wednesday, and hopefully we will have more tips and more No Idea Lives coming up in the weeks to come.
That's it.
All right. Thanks again, and have a great day.